There's been a lot of questions lately about the current ninja nerfs and how do they impact PvP, PvE, which is better, Awakening, Succession. I'll try to address some of them in this video and hopefully shine a bit of light on the current situation of Ninja. To address the elephant in the room, I will be playing Succession because of the PvE. Currently I'm missing 2 pen pieces for armors and I need a lot of capras for them as well. And after that I'll probably get to Dead Distortions and a pen mover. So we're talking about, with how little I play the game, we're probably talking about like 6 months to a year of grinding. So yeah, for that Succession is a lot better. It has better damage. It's easier on the hands, and because of that I actually feel a lot better grinding like a few more hours daily. You know, when you come back from work and you're tired, you usually don't feel like grinding too much, but Succession just is really easy on the hands. And sure, you can try hard a bit more on it and push like a few hundred more trash loot. But for me, I prefer to like not do that and just have it more relaxed, have like a show on the background running, just listen to a podcast or something. But yeah, so talking about some numbers, I make 3.6k, and when I was playing Awakening, maybe 3.8k in Historia. And after I switched to Succession, I started getting like 4.5, and after that maybe I could hit like 4.8 or 4.9 if I try hard a lot. There's also a video of my friend Hamza, a very good ninja, pulling 4.5k in history on the so-called black shard rotation. So I'll link that in the description as well. But yeah, basically for me it boils down to the fact that I don't want to miss like that extra like 1.5k trash or something like that when I'm grinding, because I don't have like that much time to play the game, so I want to make it like very you know, like make the most out of it kind of. So let's also talk a bit about PvP. Duels. Duels is something we do a lot, and most ninjas really like to duel. Sure, there are ninjas that like to do no doors only or stuff like that, or RBF only, but duels are a big part of most ninjas, like what they want to do in this game. So what do we still have for duels, like after we lost another stance basically? And you can't see this, but in a lot of duels, alert stance actually, whenever you try to cancel it, like sometimes it doesn't even teleport you like that. It does like 5 millimeters. So this is also really annoying. Basically you have to use it as a block, kind of like on react to incoming projectiles. Saying the conclusion at the start again, like I also think Awakening has like much better outplay potential now. And you can do like, basically alert stance was very strong against frontal guards because it gave you like an easy way to get behind them quickly, and we don't have that anymore, but we still have like some pretty good cancels. So let's go through some of them at the dummies over here. So we still have like the block jump cancels, so maybe blade speed, block jump. You see how it's really fast. We still have like the beheading cancels, which is like maybe something like this. See, it's pretty good. The smoke screen, like after you delay it, you become invisible, and then you go into the little guard stance, where you can also cancel Shadow Storm from it. We still have the lingering essays, which are pretty good. So how do you use like all of these like together? Because most ninjas, when they see like this kind of stuff, like they don't understand like, okay, but how do we like put all of this together? So we can just try to learn a bit from how Kunos play, because Kunos actually use a very strong like thing now where they use smoke screen and then a skill called flash slash, and they have like a lot of like iframe, like super armor CC into iframe, into stiffen, into iframe, and something like this. So what we can do is basically a combination of this whenever we're fighting some people. Now I'm not saying like this is very good or like the best thing, because when you're gonna try to do this against strong people, like you're probably gonna get destroyed. Like I'm only saying this like in case like you guys ever need to in a node or to fight like a 1v1 and you don't know what to do. You could like some theory, you could like do something like this basically, where it goes like this into this into the cancel. You can teleport instantly from it. So that was a uh, smoke screen into so that's like a super armor with a stun CC. Then it goes into beheading, which is like a mini iframe into a stun, and then like if the guy is trying to disengage, like it goes into the block jump. I'll show like a few duels with Hamza after this, and so we can go over them. We're gonna look at a few cases where I'm fighting Hamza, which is the Awakening Ninja, but you can probably make the same case for fighting a Sork, Awakened Sork, or Succession Sork, or maybe a Tamer. Like most of these concepts still apply. It just comes down to what cooldowns do you need to watch for, and maybe how the opponent plays, if he plays really aggressively or stuff like that. So I'm gonna give a few examples of some fights that some went fine for me, some went badly for me, and we go from there. In this fight, actually, I get grabbed in one of my lingering I like super armor, so it's really good reaction time from him, and let's watch it first. And I die. So let's review it a bit and understand what happened here. Um, so start off the duel by using Surak, Dark Frenzy, and then like go stepping away. I know he likes to play pretty aggressively at the start, so I'm trying to keep my distance. Just doing my lingering super armors right now, trying to find an opening, but not really catching anything. And I did my Shadow Slash there, and I was prepared to do my beheading, but he wasn't close enough, so I decided not to. And right now I do a mistake because I turn my camera and I actually see that he's doing a blade spin. So in my mind, I kinda want to get close to him to do a grab. And I get close to him by using one of my super armors, but he knows this, and since this super armor move, the Crescent Slash, is kind of slow, it's very telegraphed and he reacts to it accordingly and grabs me and kills me. So that's well played by him. Let's look at the next clip. We have another clip here where I actually put in good use some of the stuff I explained in the 1v1 thing from earlier about maybe like a concept thing of what Succession can do to protect it and do some CCs in a like a very small area, but do them consistently one after another. So let's look at the fight first. Okay, so as you can see, I actually caught him with my block jump there, and the important section of that is the thing that happened after the blade spin. So as you can see earlier, just circling through some of my movement skills and some of my super armors to maybe get an opening on him. And it comes to this point where he's kind of far away from me and he used blade spin, and I also use my blade spin. So since I have like all of my cooldowns up, I actually try to go for that string I mentioned earlier. So it goes into smoke screen and then into beheading. I think he's in Oni Shadow and he dashed backwards. And he sees my beheading and he tries to react to it, which is very smart because you cannot cancel the canceled version of beheading at the end anymore, but you can still use block jump, the cancel version, to cancel it. So there's no go step after a canceled beheading, but block jump still works. So we go into this situation where a lot of ninjas are very familiar with, where it goes into one of them uses block jump and the other one uses block jump as well. And one of the things you can do is to just block jump behind and hit him with a stiffen. So this is what I do, and then I do kind of a scuffed combo on him. But yeah, this is a good situation where he tried to counterplay me here on reaction, but I had like one more layer to my skills that he wasn't aware of. So after the smoke screen and the delayed version, and then the beheading, I still have my block jump cancel up, and he just cannot, there's just too many variables for him to count there as well. And I also got a bit lucky that I stiffen here. Most of the time the stiffen does not work. So even in this case, like this stiffen has like maybe like a 30% chance of working, I would say. So even in this case, his play was pretty good. So yeah, got a few more examples of this. Let's watch the next fight as well. Okay, so another reactive block jump to one of his attacks, and let's analyze it a bit. So it starts from here. As you can see, like at the start, you kind of are fishing for the other player to maybe blow some of their cooldowns, maybe look for an opportunity where he's doing something unsafe. But I see his block jumping there, and I actually go for a shadow slash into smoke screen, so that's a full super armor string. And then I switch behind me, and he used his block jump. He actually got a bit baited there. He used his block jump to do a go step backwards and then do a transition stance. That's something a lot of Awakening Ninja do a lot, so it's very, very common. And it's really safe most of the time. So I actually turned my camera around and used the cancel version of block jump to actually find him here, and I continued to do like a ghost greeting cancel into a shadow stomp for my add-ons, and then finish him off. So yeah, it's the block jump cancel is just incredibly strong against classes that circle their block or awakened classes or whatever. So we're looking now at a very nice spacing and counterplay to some of my previous plays. Some of the strings I've used and the block jump cancels. And we're gonna see how Hamza adapts to that playstyle, and he spaces me out and just leaves me no option because there's not much you can do in Succession Ninja when you're getting spaced out like this against a class that has a lot of protection. So let's look at the fight first. And there it goes. Okay, so let's look over it for a bit and understand what happened and why did we get so destroyed. So it just starts off normally with some super armor rotations and some ninja step and whatever. So it comes to this point where I use blade spin and I look around for him to see what he's doing. He's also using blade spin at this moment, waiting for either a reaction or a counterplay. So he uses the blade spin into concealment cancel here, and I am very close to him, so he tries to see like what's happening. So I do the blade spill into smoke bomb, and then I do the string from earlier, so it's beheading of the dead. And he ghost steps beheading, and at this point I'm just waiting and trying to catch him with the last part of the string, so that's the block jump cancel. But he reacts with his own block jump, and a problem of block jump is actually like if you're trying to target something that isn't there, you're actually gonna get teleported in place and your camera will turn as well. So this is quite problematic because his block jump gives him like invulnerability, and you cannot target something in invulnerability. So right there I couldn't react fast enough to his block jump and I pressed W. So I'm stuck in this position, which is very bad. Like this is very unprotected and totally risky. I managed to get out with a ghost step into a ghost greeting, and then the duel continues. But at this point, I do not have my rotations anymore. There's 13 seconds for block jump. I would have to play like very passively in this case. So maybe I'll run to the other side of the arena using these movement skills and maybe these super armors. But it's not something you usually do in duels. So in this situation, I'm kind of looking to catch him with like a malice, maybe trying to see like what's happening. So I use the new alert stance here, which is kind of to my demise because he does a ghost step and a transition stance and just catches me behind with the transition stance murderous intent, which is actually very good against frontal guards because if you can angle it correctly, you destroy the other guy's frontal guard and you CC him, and he just continues with the normal combo. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the 1v1s. So how is Node Wars with the new Succession Ninja? Well, basically you're a lot more immobile now, and you cannot engage into people so easily, you cannot disengage so easily, you cannot close the distance so easily because of alert stance. Our damage got nerfed as well. Our combo, the normal combo, a lot of ninjas use, which is Shadow Stomp into Blade Spin. You get like a back attack and then some air attack. It's still pretty good. I mean, it's actually better than the Awakening one, since Blade Spin is much stronger. You do like Shadow Stomp into Blade Spin into Illusions or maybe Red Rain, depending on the situation. And there's also like something pretty good that's still here. You have the cancelable block jump and the cancelable beheading, which basically all the cancels you have to play around all your cooldowns now, and whenever you do like a combo into people, imagine this is like a group of people, you'd start probably by doing like a cancelable beheading and then like a cancelled block jump, so you can chain together kind of your super armors and make the gaps between your skills very small. So it's probably like a bit similar to what you do in the 1v1 scenario. So it just comes down to how much damage you can dish out in like your skills, and then just trying to disengage by using either Oni Shadow or your stealth, or maybe using, if you haven't used the Shadow Storm, maybe disengaging using this. So that's still like pretty decent. Like all of it is unprotected, but it's a decent disengage if you haven't used Shadow Storm. We're gonna go look at some Node War clips that I got after the Succession nerfs and see how that goes, and some of the plays I make. Another thing I want to say, something that's actually pretty interesting. You know how in Awakening, maybe you want to start a fight by using Serpent. So like since you're in stealth, you want to use Serpent like the first CC. Well, basically you cannot do this if you're in Oni Shadow because your Serpent is your Awakening, right? You would have to C-swap first and then go. In Succession, you can actually like start most of your combos pretty well with the Oni Shadow because you still have access to your beheading and your like Kunos like to use this a lot, where they do something like this. and that's how they stiffen the main group, and then they go in. So you still have like access to something like this, then like doing the rest of your combo. You still have access to like the blade spin spacebar if you want to execute someone real fast. So yeah, let's look at some node work clips and see like how I play some situations and how ninja succession might be useful in some other situations. So this is a clip from one of our sieges from yesterday actually, and it's us versus Desing who are holding the castle at this point. And one of the problems, like I said, with Ninja Succession right now is that it's really hard to catch people, but you don't need to catch anyone if you're fighting them in a very enclosed space. So I come out of V behind him there, him like these people, and let's see how it goes out. So basically, let's watch and let's understand like some of the things that I did here that are very close. I mean, they're basically what I've talked about. So the first thing after I come out of V, I do the LMB RMB for my AP buff, and I see that this dude is trying to come up and catch me. I immediately cancel my beheading using Shadow Slash and beheading, and I catch him like while he was trying to go up. So right now I have the crit buff, I have the AP buff, and the attack speed buff and the defense buff from my add-ons. So this makes me decently strong right now. I also have a drought running, so that's like a lot of damage. Um, I go in and try to shadow stomp this person like in front of me, and I do a shadow stomp into blade spin combo, which chunks him like pretty hard. So all my buffs helped me a lot there because this is a siege, so I still chunked him. He has like 30% left. Keeping in mind that I still haven't used my second CC on him, I fall back and I try to use Moonlight on him, and then I go back and use Illusions of Restraint to try to protect myself a bit from the incoming damage while my cooldowns are coming up. So it goes Illusions, I cancel it with a Malice for some extra attack speed, so you can see like all of my add-ons, how they help me a lot. So I have the evasion buff now, I have another attack speed buff, I have an accuracy buff from Blade Spin. So I AoE them a lot and I kill one of them using the Red Rain, and then I just continue going through my rotation of skills again. So I do LMB RMB for my attack damage, and they're slowly getting whittled away. I also continue with the SQ, which is the skill, and they are slowly dying right now. Finish off the ninja as well. So right now it's just a shy left, and I'm also got like some help from my friend Sinita here, which helps me in this situation because I might have died there because they did manage to CC me in one of the gaps. And after we're just like pounding this poor shy over here. But yeah, this is basically like an example of how we use like ninja succession in tight spaces. Not much has changed, but in these like types of rooms, it's really hard for your enemies to react in any way because they have nowhere to go. Like the ranger is stuck here with me, the ninja is getting caught by all of my stuff, and it's really hard. Even though they have a shy who's trying to do her best, like protecting them, it's really hard for them. So, looking at another clip, this is also from last night's siege. Eugene was one of the guilds in the siege, and they actually had a lot of mercs, so a lot of decently strong people at them, and we tried to kill them fast. Basically, right now my job is to interrupt their rebuilding because their fort is very low and they're trying to rebuild and repair it. So let's see what happens in the clip. Um, let's see if I'm still applying like the same things we talked about earlier. And then I make my escape somehow. As you can see, like the escape is very like not pretty at all since I'm not used to not escaping using alert stance anymore. But yeah, let's discuss a bit like about what happened in the clip. So I approached them with Oni Shadow. I get to them really fast. I still have like half my stamina left. And I have a few debuffs on me, but it's not really that important. I managed to get a good like beheading cancel from Shadow Slasher and get a good 5 people, and I don't think this person is CC'd, I'm not really sure. But as you can see, I'm already getting my add-ons up and I'm becoming really strong for my next CC. So after I stun all of them, I actually take the time to E-buff now, or C-buff, whatever it's called in succession. So this gives me like a much stronger dots, which are actually really strong for sieges because the dots stop them from regaining health, and your party can actually come and like wipe them, or they have to retreat. They cannot gain health without a heal or something from a wizard or maybe a Valk. So I do my E buff and then I do a shadow stomp into blade spin, like the typical combo. I get a bunch of air attack here, some down attack. Some of these people, my blade spin doesn't reach them actually, even though like I shadow stomp them. It's weird when shadow stomp like holds you in place. This is because of attack speeds. If you have too much attack speed, add-ons or buffs up, sometimes you do not pass through people using shadow stomp. So my blade spin does a lot of damage, and some people actually die here. I continue my combo using Malice, and I hit that person over there. So that person V'd, I think. And then I go with Red Rain, which helps me get like another kill. So let's look at their debuffs right now. They're getting debuff by Poison, my DP debuff from Red Rain, Burn, and Bleed. So this is a lot of debuffs on them right now, and their HP will go down really fast. I actually do not cancel block jump here, so this is pretty bad by me. I should have just cancelled it. I'm very used to using block jump on 4, and a lot of times I forget that we have cancels on it now, so I have to press Shift Q. So I still managed to get it off without getting CC. That was pretty lucky by me. And I get a stiffen, or maybe not, like these people are on the ground. But what I continue right now is with Black Moonlight. And as you can see, I managed to get a good float on them while still applying my debuffs from my C buff. So a few more people get hit really hard here. And at this point, like I still have beheading back, but my combos, like I do not have escapes anymore. Like I have to wait 3 seconds for my ninja step. I could have stayed maybe and continue, but I'm not like Ninja Succession is just not very good at prolonged fights. So I decide to leave here. I still have like some debuffs on me, so it's pretty annoying. So I make my escape now. I accomplish my objective. They are not repairing anymore, and they don't know like if I'm going right in or like where I'm coming from again. So they have to play a bit more scared now. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope some of the stuff I talked about helps you in your journey to decide what class to play, either Succession, Ninja or Awaken. And to each his own. If you have more fun with Succession, definitely stick on it. I will do it just for the PV, and I'll switch to Awakening as soon as possible. I just tried to demonstrate today that there's still stuff you can do on Succession, and it's not totally, like, completely useless, but for sure the nerf certainly did a big number of us and some of the outplay potential we had in Succession. And shoutouts to my friend Hamza for helping me film this, and to my guild boss for being awesome. And if you want to hear me go more in depth about things like these, I actually had a podcast with Yellow, which whenever he uploads it, I'll link it in the description, where we talk about some of the nerfs and how maybe they would affect Ninja. We didn't have the chance to play Ninja when the podcast aired, so we didn't have the nerfed version of Alert Stance back then. But yeah, if you like this type of content, just tell me. And I read all your comments, so whatever you say, I'll respond to it. So yeah, I'll see you guys later and good luck.